before we go and do a demonstration of our disc seeder, all farmers should, before they get into the paddock, they should calibrate the machine. So it's pretty important that we calibrate it for seed and fertiliser. Obviously there's different densities and weights between varieties. So we're aiming to establish between 100 and 200 plants per square metre. So that's why it's important to calibrate the machine. For the seeding rates, they're on each of the variety guide fact sheets. So it varies between 100 kilos to 150 kilos a hectare. So yeah, that's number one thing, is calibration, to get that right, to get our plant population right. The other thing is obviously maintenance of your machine is very important. So you got to make sure obviously your closing wheel and your press wheel are working. I guess in an instance, for example, if the press wheel doesn't work and it leaves the furrow open, there's implications later on when you come back for your herbicide program. So particularly using gramoxone, that'll hit the seed that's germinated and will kill the seed. So particularly in wet conditions, I've seen with disc seeders as well, it will leave the slot open if you don't make adjustments. So that's the other thing that's important. Once you're in the field, make them adjustments according to your soil type and conditions as well. So that's very important. So with your maintenance done, your calibration done, we'll get out the paddock and we'll do a couple of trial runs. Right, now we're about to down the paddock and we're going to do the demonstration. So we're using an 8-inch spacing, single disc air seeder to sow the crop this time. As you can see, a well prepared bay ready to sow. So as we can see, Anna, if we look down on the ground, so we've got some nice uniform grooves, which is pretty important, and that's the advantage of a disc seeder, is about placement. So we're looking at to get the seed in the ground about 3 centimetres below the surface. So if we come over and have a look where I've scratched it up already, we'll see that that's, if I get my rule up the right way, so we're sitting at about the 3 centimetres there. So that's really good seed placement. You see it's also uniform, so we just scratch up a few more there. So yeah, that's really good at that 3 centimetres where we're at. The other thing is about speed. So slower is better. It's, as we said, so establishment is the second key step in getting a high yielding crop. So we're really important. So it's more important to go slower to ensure you don't get any seed bounce and that uniformity of placement. The other thing, it's really important is to check your depth quite regularly. It's also important to, if you've got a real slaking soil, you need to, and particularly if you're using a tine machine, you need to level off the hills to get your true depth. So if it's slaking soil, you'll see some of this soil will fall into the furrow, and you can get the seed depth will be 5 centimetres or 6 centimetres instead of 3. So you've got to be really conscious of your soil type and your sowing machine when looking at soil depth. So as I said, it's also important, your speed is a factor as well. The other thing you need to check regularly, particularly when you're sowing, drill sowing crops in October, when it's usually wet, is that you don't get any blockages. Yeah, you only get one go at it as well, so that's pretty important to check on your blockages as well. So that's about all we want to demonstrate this morning. Certainly, yeah, any questions, fire them away now or put them in the chat box.